Eala spent years being called a prospect, a talent to watch, a name tennis insiders whispered about long before casual fans knew who she was. She trained inside the Rafael Nadal Academy. She climbed the rankings quietly, patiently, match by match. But outside the tennis world, the biggest brands stayed cautious. They wanted evidence, not potential. They wanted a moment big enough to prove she belonged among the sport's elite. Then, in Washington, D.C., that moment finally arrived. She walked into the final of the Mubadala DC Open against Jessica Pegula, the world number 3. She dropped the first set. Rain delayed the match overnight. And when play resumed, Eala won 8 straight games to close it out, becoming the first player from the Philippines in history to capture a WTA Tour singles title. Within hours, she wasn't just a promising athlete anymore. She was a national story. And that shift changes everything. Because in modern sports, the biggest payday rarely comes from talent alone. It comes from narrative. Brands don't sign athletes just because they can win. They sign them because people believe in them. Because their story feels real. And right now, Eala has a story that writes itself. She's 21. She's humble. She moves comfortably between English and Filipino, between courts in Europe and courts back home. She connects with fans across continents. And she carries something even more powerful than a trophy. She's giving an entire country its first legitimate tennis superstar. That combination doesn't come along often, and when it does, marketers notice immediately. Picture what happened across the Philippines the moment she lifted that trophy. Celebrations broke out online before she'd even left the court. News outlets that rarely cover tennis suddenly couldn't stop talking about her. Her name trended for days, not hours. For a sponsor, that kind of organic, unpaid attention is nearly impossible to manufacture. It's the kind of exposure companies spend enormous marketing budgets chasing and almost never fully capture. Because that's the truth about sponsorship deals. Companies aren't only buying a logo on a jersey. They are buying emotion. They are buying belief. They are attaching themselves to a feeling millions of people already have and hoping some of it rubs off on them. Eala, right now, has that feeling in abundance. Now think about this from a sponsor's chair. Would you rather back an athlete already past their prime, whose story has mostly already been told, or someone who might dominate headlines for the next decade? That's exactly why rising champions become so valuable so quickly. Every win adds to their visibility. Every press conference builds trust. Every new fan who discovers them becomes someone who might buy what they're selling. Eala is stepping directly into that cycle. Her value isn't just about where she's ranked this month. It's about where analysts think she'll be in 5 years. That's precisely why companies move early, before an athlete peaks, because the smartest sponsorship deals in sports history were signed before the world caught on. Nike understood that. Before her DC Open breakthrough, the company had already built a limited collection inspired by her heritage. Before most casual fans knew her name, Nike had already placed its bet. We've watched this exact pattern before. Before Naomi Osaka became one of the highest-paid female athletes on the planet, sponsors saw her potential early and moved fast. Before Carlos Alcaraz became a global face of tennis, companies recognized what he could become long before he lifted a Grand Slam trophy. The same formula is now forming around Eala, and the businesses paying attention understand exactly what's at stake. There's another quality that makes her especially attractive. She feels genuine. Today's audiences are remarkably good at spotting manufactured personas. They can tell when an athlete is performing a character instead of being themselves. Eala doesn't chase controversy. She doesn't manufacture drama for attention. She trains, she competes, and she lets her results carry the conversation. Ironically, that restraint is exactly what makes her so compelling to companies looking for a long-time face. She's steady. She's respected by opponents. Parents point to her as an example for their kids. That's the kind of image no amount of advertising money can fake. Then there's the scale of her home audience. More than 100 million people live in the Philippines, and it's one of the most active social media populations anywhere in the world. When Eala wins, the reaction isn't polite applause. It's an explosion of shares, comments, and pride. That kind of engagement is worth more to a brand than raw follow accounts because it proves people actually care what she does next. Her appeal doesn't stop at national borders either. She's quickly becoming one of the most recognizable young players across Asia, and that opens the door to markets far beyond her home country. Global brands are constantly hunting for a fresh face who can represent a new generation of the sport, someone who feels different from the players who came before. Eala fits that description almost perfectly. Her background adds another layer of credibility. Training within the Rafael Nadal Academy tells sponsors she was shaped inside one of the most disciplined systems in tennis. It signals a foundation built on structure, not luck. Companies feel more confident partnering with an athlete whose success wasn't accidental. But maybe the biggest reason brands are circling right now is simple. This story is still just beginning. She's already climbing toward a new career high ranking. Her confidence is visibly growing with every match. And after finally breaking through with a maiden tour title, expectations have jumped to an entirely new level. Imagine what happens if she reaches a Grand Slam semifinal. Imagine a deep run at a WTA 1000 event like the one she's stepping into next in Toronto. Imagine her breaking into the world's top 10. Every one of those milestones could reshape her commercial value overnight. That's how this business works. Success draws attention. Attention draws sponsors. Sponsors expand visibility. And greater visibility creates the next wave of opportunity. Eala has already entered that cycle, and right now, it's only accelerating. None of this is guaranteed, of course. Professional tennis is unforgiving. Every season brings new rivals, new injuries, new pressure. A single title doesn't promise a legendary career, but it does something almost as powerful. It changes how the world sees you. Eala is no longer viewed as a talented junior who might break through someday. She's a proven tour champion. And that single shift changes conversations in boardrooms, changes negotiations, changes how far brands are willing to go to be associated with her name. The real question isn't whether Eala has talent anymore. Everyone already knows the answer to that. The real question is how far this story can go. Could she become the face of tennis across Asia? Could she become one of the highest-earning athletes to ever come out of the Philippines? Could she inspire a generation of kids to pick up a racket for the first time? If her breakthrough title in Washington was only the opening chapter, then the biggest moments of her career and the biggest business decisions built around her may still be ahead.